Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and it's that time of the weekend where we make our predictions for the weekends of football. I've been sick for the last couple of days, so I have not made videos regarding the Europa League or the Champions League. It was quite an exciting couple of nights, but now we are back into the domestic leagues. This is a very important weekend, as this is the last weekend before the teams go for the international break. So all the teams are going to be looking at to making sure that they go to the international break with a win. So let's go ahead and focus on the leagues. In this video, we are going to talk about the Serie A, and we're going to make predictions for match day 7. 6 weeks, and every weekend we have a new team at the top of Serie A, so it is quite exciting at the moment. We are not sure which team is gonna go ahead and set the pace, because as I said, 6 weeks and 6 different teams at the top. We will see whether it's this at the end of the 7th week we have a new team at the top, or will Napoli be able to stay at the top at the end of this week. So let's get ahead, make our prediction. And speaking of Napoli, they are playing the first game against Como. It's first versus 10th. Napoli, they have been really great. Last 5 games they are undefeated in all 5 of them, 4 wins. The only draw that they played in those 5 games was against Juventus. They won 2-0 against Monza last weekend. It was quite an easy win, quite a one-sided game, to be very honest with you. Monza never really gave a tough time to Napoli, and they won that game quite convincingly. They are playing against a Como side who have now won 2 games in a row. In their last 4 games they have only lost once, and their form is kind of good as well. And I've been saying this consistently, that the performances for Como had been really good, but they were not able to get over the line. But they have now won, as I said, 2 in a row, so their confidence is going to be really high coming into this game. But I don't think they are going to be able to get 3 wins in a row. As I say, Napoli is at the moment are on a different level at the moment, and they know that this is the last game before going to the international break. So they are going to make sure that they finish this set of period before the international football on a high. So I'm going for a comfortable home win. I don't think it's going to be that comfortable. I think it will be a close game. I think Napoli score first, Como get the equalizer, and Napoli score again, and then Como going inside for the equalizer are going to leave the spaces behind, and Napoli are going to take advantage of that. That is why I'm going for a 3-1 home win for Napoli. The next game is Verona versus Venezia. It's 19th versus 14th. Now both of these teams have been struggling at the moment. Venezia, they lost last weekend against Roma. It ended up being a tight game. It finished 2-1. I thought it was going to be a comfortable win for Roma, but Venezia really gave them a tough time. They have won just once in their last 5 games, losing 3 of them. So their form is not really good. That is why they are 19th. To be very honest with you, they are playing a Verona side who themselves are not really in a good form. 4 defeats in their last 5 games, including 3 in a row. Last weekend they lost to Como. It was quite a tough game. It ended 3-2 with Verona down to 10 men. So I think this is a game where Verona would really think that they can get something out of it. I think it's going to be quite a close game. I said the same thing about the Como game, and that ended up being quite close as well. But I think this will be more closer than the previous one, and I think this might be the game where Verona finally end their losing streak and get their that 3rd win of this season. Their start was quite good. Like in the first 3 games they won twice and lost just once, but after that 3 continuous losses has put a damp on that a good start. But they would hope that before going to that international break they can get another 3 points. Venezia, on the other hand, they are at home. They would want to make sure that they themselves don't go into do the international break in that relegation. They are 19th, but if they get the win, there are chances they might get out of the relegation zone. So I think it's going to be quite a tough game, and I think I'll be very honest with you, I just don't see either of them winning. I think Verona can win. To be very honest with you, if any of the team wins, I think it will be Verona, but I'm going to sit on the fence on this one, and I think it will be a high scoring game as well. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw between Venezia and Verona. Moving on to the next game, it is Udinese versus Lecce. Both of these teams lost last weekend. Udinese lost to Inter 3-2. They were the home side, but they were not really able to get the job done in that game. It ended being quite a close game, but I think Inter was the team that played better and deserved to win that game, and they did. Udinese is now two defeats in a row. A couple of weeks ago they were at the top. Now they are 8th. They are playing Lecce, who are 18th, and Udinese would want, they know this is a perfect opportunity for them to end that losing streak of 2 games. They are playing against Lecce, who as I said, are 18. They lost to Milan last week. Comprehensive win last Friday. It was a 3-0 defeat for them, and before that game they had in the last 5 games they have won just once. But the thing was, before last weekend they had sort of had a mini revival. They were undefeated in their last 3 games, so they were going on the right path, but they then go ahead and they get that defeat against Milan, and unfortunately for them, I think that is gonna continue. I think they are gonna lose another game just before the international break, and I think it is going to be an easy win for Udinese and they get back to winning ways. I'm going for a 2-0 win for the home side. Next game is Atalanta versus Genoa. It's 12th versus 17th, and now both of these teams have not really had a good start to the season, to be very honest with you. Atalanta, they drew last weekend against Bologna. I went for an Atalanta defeat, to be very honest with you, so them getting a point was very important for them. They have won just once in their last 5 games, and as I said, it has not been really a good start for them. They are playing as a Genoa side who themselves have not really had a good start. They have lost 3 games in their last 3 out of their last 4 games, 2 in a row. So this is a very important game for them. They lost last weekend against Juventus, a 3-0, quite a convincing win for Juve, and a convincing loss for Genoa. So they are really struggling at the moment. They are 17, just a point above the relegation zone. So they need to make sure that they don't lose before going to the international break. And they are playing an Atalanta side who are not really been on a form, and I think but they are home as well, but I just don't see them, Atalanta, going over the line in this game. Genoa have been really terrible, but Atalanta themselves, they are not giving you confidence. They are not fulfilling their potential at the moment, and I just don't see them getting a win in this game. I think they are gonna go to the international break with a draw, so I'm going for a 1-1 draw between Atalanta and Genoa. The next game is Inter versus Torino. It's 4th versus 5th. Now both of these teams were involved in high scoring games last weekend. Inter defeated Udinese 3-2, and they got back on winning ways. It was important for them after a mini sort of a bad luck for them in the league. They had not won in the last 2 weeks before defeating Udinese, so they needed that win. They are playing against a Torino side who started last weekend at the top of the table, but they lost against Lazio 3-2, and now they have dropped down to 5th. So as I said, an interesting game. I think it is going to be a close game. Inter, they played midweek in the Champions League as well, winning 4-0 against Cervena Vesda, so they are on a high at the moment. So it will be interesting how they play this weekend. As I said, the international break is coming, so that aspect is going to be looming on both the teams' mind. I think it will be a very close game. I think it will be a very tight game as well, and I think we might be heading for another draw in this game as well, because as I said, both these teams are really close at the moment, and both are playing really good at the moment as well. And in the last 3 games, all both of them have been really inconsistent. We have gotten all 3 results for both of them in their last games, so I just am not sure which side to go on. So that's why I'm just going to stay on the fence, and I think it will be a high scoring draw. If it turns out to be a draw, I think it will be a high scoring draw. It could very well end a 2-1 for either side. I think if anybody wins, this is going to be the scoreline, 2-1, but I'm going for a 2-all draw between Inter and Torino. The next game is Juventus versus Cagliari. It's a second versus 16th. Both these teams won last weekend. Juventus, it was quite a convincing win for them against Genoa, winning 3-0. It was quite important for them to win that game after three consecutive draws. They needed that win, and they have gotten it. Juventus are still like one of the two teams remaining that are still undefeated in Serie A, along with Empoli. So they would want that to continue. They are playing against a Cagliari side who won last weekend 3-2 against Parma. It was their first win of the season, so they would be really happy that they have gotten that out of their system. They got that win, and it was a close game against Parma. Prior to that, they had lost 3 in a row, so their confidence would be a lot better coming into this game against the Juve. But Juve are at home, and as I said, they are still one of the one of the two teams still undefeated in the league, and they are at home as well. And I just don't see anything other than a Juve win in this game, and they know that they would want to finish finish the weekend before the international break at the top of the table, and they would want to win this game and make sure that they are able to, in case Napoli slip on a Friday, so you can capitalize. So and so they would have that in their mind as well. Plus, as I said, they are at home. They are playing a Cagliari side who are not really their form is not really good at the moment. Even though they won last week, I just don't see them causing any problems to Juve. I'm going for a comfortable 3-0 win for Juventus. The next game is Lazio versus Empoli. It's 7th versus 6th. Lazio, they won last weekend against Torino 3-2. It was a big win for them. They knew it was quite important for them because they were sort of getting away from the pack, so they needed that win to get back closer to the top teams, and they are now very close to them. The difference between first till 8 is like just 3-4 points, so it's quite important for Lazio to stay as close as longer as possible to make sure that they can finish in those European places. They are playing against an Empoli side who are just like Juventus, they are the only team remain in the Serie A who are still undefeated. They drew against Fiorentina last weekend 0-0. It was quite people could say like it was and even though it ended in a dull game, it was still quite an exciting game. I like it is one of those 0-0 draws where you can go back and still watch it and enjoy that game. They are away this time at Lazio, would love to finish Empoli's undefeated streak just before the international break. So I think a lot of high stakes on this game, and if Lazio defeat Empoli, they overtake them in the table, and they can get even in the 5th or 4th position just before the international break. So very important game for both of them. But I think Empoli would be able to go into the second international break still undefeated alongside Juventus, but I just don't think they are gonna win this game. I'm going for another draw for Empoli. This like they already have 3 draws in the last 5 games, but I think it is going to be another draw for them, and I am going for a 1-1 draw between Lazio and Empoli. The next game is Bologna versus Parma. It's 13th versus 15th. Two teams that are in that mid-table at the moment, and both teams who are not in a good form, to be very honest with you. Bologna, they are undefeated in their last 4 games, but 3 of them have been draw. They played against Atalanta last weekend, and that game also ended in a 1-1 draw. So they're playing good football but they are not able to get over the line, and most of their games end up being draw. They are playing against a Parma side who are 15th at the moment, and they lost 3-2 last weekend to Cagliari. Their last 4 games they are winless, and all out of those 4 they have lost 3 times, including last weekend as well. So I think it is going to be a tough game. I think it will be a close game, but I think Bologna are going to be able to get over the line in this game and go into the international break with a win. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Bologna. The next game is Monza versus Roma. It's 20th versus 9th. Now Monza are in a very terrible position at the moment. They are the only team remaining in Serie A who have not won a single game till now. In their last 5 games, 4 of them have been defeats. So 3 of them have been defeats, including the last 2 games. So they really need to do something to get out of that mess, because it's now starting to look really bad for them. They are playing against a Roma side who are at 9th at the moment, who had sort of had a terrible start to the season. But I said all along that then players needed some time to gel together, and then we are going to see results for them. They are undefeated in their last 4 games, including 2 consecutive wins. They won last weekend as well against Venezia. It ended up being a 2-1 close game. I did not think that it was going to be a close game, but it ended up being a 2-1 win, and Roma got over the line. I still think they need a bit of time, so I just think they would be very happy with that international break coming up, even though most of their players might go to that international duty. But I still think they needed that break, so they when they come back, their players can have more time with each other, and then that understanding can develop, because I think that is the only reason why Roma struggled early on in the season. The first couple of games, then like I said, the last 4 games they are undefeated, and they're starting to win the games. They are slowly creeping up the table. They are 9th with 9 points, and the first at the top, like Napoli are on 13. So the difference is not that much, like just 4 points, 1 game, and they could be right, by the end of this weekend they might be in a 4th or 5th, like that. So it is very close at the moment, and Roma know that how important a winning early on in the season is, to make sure they get as close to the top as possible, so that when the season starts to settle down, and the teams who are gonna be actually challenge for the title, they could be of one of them. I think it is not going to be that close of a game. Monza have been really terrible. I think it's going to be quite an easy win for Roma. I said that last weekend, but it did not turn out like that. But this time around, I think Roma are gonna do it convincingly, and I am going for a 3-1 win for Roma. And the final game of this weekend is Fiorentina versus Milan. It is 11th versus 3rd. Now the thing with Fiorentina is their season has been quite inconsistent, if I'm being very honest with you. Their performances have been quite inconsistent as well. They are the team who have had the most draws in the Serie A till now. And even in their last 5 games, there's just 1 win, 1 defeat, and 3 draws. They even drew last weekend as well against Empoli. It was a 0-0 draw, and they would want to finish this weekend and go into the international break with a win. But they are playing against a Milan side who are in a really good form at the moment. They won 3 in a row, and the thing is, there was like a couple of weeks ago, we were all sitting here and we were talking like that Fonseca is under a lot of pressure, and he was at the fear of getting the sack just before the Milan derby. A lot of rumors, a lot of murmurs from inside the club, from local media, that is a must-win game for Fonseca, and if he doesn't get that, it's probably that we will get the first sack of the season. And now it's all rosy, and it's looking really good for Fonseca and Milan. 3 wins in a row, 4 games undefeated, so it's all happy, and everybody's really enjoying their time, and I think they are going to enjoy it more further. I think their winning streak, that is 3 at the moment, is going to increase to 4 games in a row. I just don't see Fiorentina causing them that much trouble. They won 3-0 last weekend against Lecce. It was quite a comprehensive win. I think it will be quite a similar, not that easy, but still quite a similar for that. So I'm going for a 3-1 win for Milan against Fiorentina. And that is it. These are my predictions for Serie A game week 7. We will see how many of them are correct and how many of them are wrong by the end of the weekend. It is a very important weekend. We are starting the international break, so all the teams would want to go into that break with a win at their back and make sure they are not in a difficult position coming back from the international break. We are gonna do some fun videos during the international break as well, but we'll see how the weekend football goes out before that. Let me know what you guys think of my predictions, and you can make your predictions in the comment section below. Each prediction is like they have points there as well. It's 3 points if the entire prediction is correct, and 2 points if the prediction is correct but the score is not correct. We're going to see how many points I can make by the end of the weekend, and then we are going to see how many points I have made each weekend till now, and we're going to calculate whether I'm doing great or whether I am really doing really bad. So you guys can play along as well. Make your predictions in the comment below so we can see at the end of the weekend who had better predictions. My predictions were better or your. That is it. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers before the a month of October ends. It is just starting, so we are hoping that we are able to achieve this target. So please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye bye.